Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something right now. Okay? I've been drinking these. Now, this one was fine. The peach one. I'm going to be honest. This one was fine. These two literally have an aftertaste of yeast. Okay? I don't know what the deal is. But these two, specifically this one, the one with raspberry and the one with apple, have yeast as their aftertaste, okay, which is disgusting, I'm gonna be honest. This one doesn't, though, but due to these two tasting like that when I drank those two first, this one also felt a little bit weird, but I've drank this one before and it was fine. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I just want to tell you that these are, like, man, the peach one, fantastic. The other two, yeast. Yeet is what I'm trying to say. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new video, guys. Today, we're going to be talking about something that isn't a rumor. We're actually not talking about a rumor. We're talking about actual information today. But it's news that's a little bit different from the kind of news that you guys would be, used to when it comes to talking, watching my videos, not talking to me. But, like, when watching my videos, you're mostly used to, like, information that's, like, rumors and that sort of stuff. But today, we actually have information that has to do with the recent fiscal year kind of like report and investors meeting that Nintendo had with its investors, giving them information about the sales, the production, costs and all that sort of stuff. And, actually not production costs, but rather like, how well they're doing, where money's going, where money's going to come from, and what things are going to make them the most money this year. So they had their meeting right now, and there was a big discussion about Pokemon in there, which I thought we'd go into, because there's been a bunch of posts here from Central Pokemon who talked about this, saying that Nintendo investors have mentioned Pokemon Sword and Shield. They have specifically said that they have boosted the portable aspect of the franchise, which is very strange that they say that, but considering that the games always were on handheld. They were always like, superior on handheld consoles. Like, that's where they started, and that's where they always were. Like, that's where the games always were. So it's a little bit of a weird kind of thing to point out. But there's also an English post here on My Nintendo News, which we're going to go through, which goes through this even better, with a bit of a better rundown in English, and, without mistranslations. But I wanted to talk about this and how this is going to affect the actual games, and, like, what's the deal with this? Like, what's gonna happen if they decide to focus more on the handheld side of this game? Does that mean we're not going to be able to actually play it on our TV? Well, no. That's why I'm going to talk about this and go through it, because I think, there's a lot of stressing about this and stressing out about this for no reason at the moment. But, yeah, I think we're going to start with what's going on with, at least in terms of, like, actual information right now. So one of the first things here we're going to do is jump over to the actual page here. So first thing, shout out to Central Pokemon for actually keeping track of these things. They actually do also have right here the renders for the new Pokemon movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. They actually have the renders for the Pokemon, which, by the way, if this was the graphics of Pokemon on the Switch, this would be amazing. Like, look at this, like, quality, man. Look at the quality of this Pokemon, dude. This is amazing. Like, look at the detail, man. This is, like, exactly this kind of graphics I want to see in a Pokemon game in the future. Like, this is what I wanted originally from a Pokemon game that we're getting right now, but we're never going to get something like this unless they decide to finally, like, up their, level a little bit. But they're using the same models from X and Y, because they basically made those future-proof, and what that means is that they made them with the intention to reuse them again in the future. But do remember, this is from a movie, and movies do have a higher, like, they're in single instance of like 60 minutes of watch time, or maybe a little bit more, so that costs a lot more to make within that instance. But if you're making a video game, you gotta make, like, animations for every single Pokemon and models for every single Pokemon, whereas in this movie, they only maybe needed, Pokemon models of like maybe 30 to 40 Pokemon, right? Not like 800 plus or whatever we need for a brand new generation. Which is why they can make these sort of, like, well-looking graphics and, like, well-made graphics, straight up. Like, genuinely good-looking graphics. But then again, please do remember that. Please keep that in mind as you're watching what I'm talking about right now. But, yeah, so I thought I'd bring this up as well, because I thought it was an interesting factor that not many people are talking about. But here's what we actually want to talk about, though, and this is right here. So Nintendo Switch has reached a 34 million consoles sold, which is amazing, by the way, in terms of hardware sales. Of course, the Nintendo 3DS is ahead, because the Nintendo 3DS is cheaper, and, of course, has been on sale for much longer. But the games though on it have sold really well. 187.52 million units of software sold, which is fantastic. And yeah, it's doing great. So in that sense, it's doing great. Also, if you guys haven't seen this, the Pokemon anime, this means we're really getting to the end game of, Sun and Moon era, and we're moving into Generation 8, is that currently the Sun and Moon anime is going into its, into the Sun and Moon League or the Alola League, and they're basically showing all the characters who are going to be involved in the league right here. When the Alola League finally starts in the Pokemon anime, the Z bracelet is the key to victory. Every Alola coach will be able to participate. It will not be a 6v6 battles, but what the coach has. So yeah, that's going to be interesting as well. Also, funnily enough, Kyoko showed up here, which was very strange. In the episode, it's going to be appearing on May the 5th episode of Pokemon Sun and Moon, and so you got Kyogre showing up, and here it seemingly has some, like, it's kind of like, it doesn't look normal, it doesn't look like normal colors, it's like weird, it's kind of like it's been infected or something, which is very strange, but you got that, some more info about that, and here's where things get a bit more interesting. So at the meeting of Nintendo investors, we can just translate this properly, at the meeting of the Nintendo investors, investors have mentioned Pokemon Sword and Shield. They have specifically said that they have boosted the portable aspect, or Nintendo has told investors that they've boosted the portable aspect of the franchise. And down here, people ask questions like, tip, they could look at the fan arts that make Pokemon fans about initial Pokemon. Not only many are better official Pokemon, I'm thinking he's going into, like, the concept of, just fan Pokemon. Again, forget the Pokemon Company have said many times, they never review image shops, and I guess, fan-made images, and I completely ignore those that fans send them for legal reasons, which is understandable. They do have to ignore it, but I will be honest, they have definitely copied some things here and there. You might not notice it like instantly, but they definitely have. So here's, for example, a list of the first-party games planned for this year. As the company mentioned, there are still a few to announce. And this is the part I really want to talk about. I actually had this in a different tab here, somewhere saved, which we're going to go into, but here's what's something that's interesting is that Pokemon Sword and Shield is listed as winter. Now, I looked into when winter usually starts, and that's around December. Now, depending on what part of winter you want to, consider it as, like, when does winter start? You basically have two different, definitions of it. One version of it starts at, around December the 21st, or something like that, 22nd here is what it says. At least for Sweden, for the northern half of the, of the Earth. It starts on the 22nd of November until the Friday, the 20th of March, 2020. That's how they consider it there. But there's also a different version where it starts at the 1st of December. So that would imply that if they're going with winter here, I would assume we're going to have the games then released, if we're going with winter, in December. It's not going to be November. Because they definitely put it on winter here. I mean, look at the release date, which means that this game could release around the same time that Smash released last year, which if we look at the calendar here for me real quick, if I go down to around December, so you got November right here, and Pokemon games come out around Friday always, I'm pretty sure. So if we go to, let's say November 28th would be making good sense, because that's, right before winter would start off, according to this other, way of looking at it. Or if we go into winter and we started from, the 21st, that would be a Saturday, so maybe on the 20th of Friday, December, would be the time for them to release it. I don't know, but they can still release it in November, though. Just at the end of November could be a possibility. Because I do wonder what that winter means exactly. I guess you can look at it from different perspectives. Now, as mentioned, we have another post right here. So learn more about the previous tweet of the portable aspect. Pokemon Sword and Shield are being developed to take advantage mainly of the portable mode of the Switch, contrary to Let's Go, which was mainly for the TV mode. So here's the interesting part, right? Now, I am a little bit worried about this aspect because, as I've said a few times before, them focusing a little bit more on the, on the handheld aspect of it rather than the TV aspect is what disappoints a lot of people, because what people wanted was a mainline Pokemon game to be on the freaking Switch, but also on the TV. Also, our camera is running out of battery, dude. I hate this camera so much at the moment. I need to get one of those universal charging things that can charge it 24/7. But here's the thing I'm trying to get to, though, is that, also, dude, this is, really annoying, but, here's the thing that's a bit of an issue, right, is that we don't want this game to focus on being handheld only. We want it to be on TV, which it's going to definitely be playable on the TV, I'm pretty sure. But this opens up the possibility and the discussion about a possible brand new Switch console that focuses on the handheld side of things. Now, as you see right here, Pokemon Sword and Shield being developed to take advantage mainly of the portable mode of the Switch, contrary to the Let's Go, which was mainly for TV mode. But do remember something. The Let's Go games were playable on the handheld mode as well, which means that this should prove to us that the game is still going to be playable on TV as well, but it's going to have more features that make more sense when you play it in handheld. And if it is on handheld, I would assume we're going to be able to actually use a touchpad to actually use moves and stuff, because that would be using the power of the Switch itself to actually press the things on the screen as a touchpad. with all screens, the touchpad, you know what I mean? So they would take advantage of that, as well as if you're playing in handheld, take advantage of, different ways, when you play in handheld. It would make a lot of sense. Like, for example, maybe if you're catching Pokemon, they can do the whole thing like that, instead of having they could do a bunch of things. That's the point I'm trying to get to. So yeah, that's a high possibility. Now, here we have a post from My Nintendo News, who go through this kind of in a nice little manner here on their website. So they start off by saying, Nintendo, Pokemon Sword and Shield are being developed to emphasize the fun of playing Nintendo Switch in handheld mode. So, Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa took a moment in the company's financial results briefing to talk about Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. According to Furukawa, Pokemon Sword and Shield have generated a huge response from consumers. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, which were released in November of last year, are designed to highlight the fun of the Nintendo Switch and TV mode. For example, by waving the controller at the TV screen to capture Pokemon. True. Again, that's you gotta realize, right? I think we as consumers take everything too literally. Like, we see something, we take it too literal, right? We're like, oh my god! Oh my god, they said they're gonna make the game for handheld focus? Oh no, that means we're not gonna be able to play it on TV. You know what I mean? Or like, they basically, like, let's say hypothetically they said for Let's Go Peach, Let's Go Eevee, like, we're gonna focus the game on, we're gonna put more emphasis on the TV aspect of playing the game. Everybody will, went kind of like, oh, but does that mean I'm not gonna be able to play it in handheld? You know what I mean? People just went apeshit about that, which you shouldn't be apeshit about that, because it's not, it's not what they mean. They just mean that, like, certain aspects of the game will, like, be better played while playing on the TV. For example, when you're doing, like, when you're petting your Pokemon, you can do, like, the whole thing with, like, the Joy-Con and petting it on the screen, right? Or, you can use the Pokeball Plus to play with that, right? That, while in game. Like, there's so many different things that were playable through the TV. For example, I preferred the handheld version, but I had to play it on TV because that's the only way for me to play it when I'm streaming it. So that's the only way I could do that. But, like, I preferred it in handheld because I didn't have to, like, aim, like, I could just aim like this and shoot off the Pokeball instead of, like, doing, the whole throwing thing, which sometimes went left, right, totally wrong directions, which was horrible, by the way. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that small aspects of the game will be more viable in handheld rather than, on TV. It doesn't mean that the whole game will not be playable on TV. It definitely will. And I just want to point that out so people don't misunderstand, because so many people misunderstand and think the totally opposite way and just be totally confused and not understand what the deal is. But yeah, let's continue where we are, though. So, last year are designed to highlight the fun of the Nintendo Switch and TV mode. For example, by waving the controller at the screen to capture Pokemon. Pokemon Sword and Shield are being developed to emphasize the fun of playing Nintendo Switch in handheld mode. Fair enough. We want these games to be played not only by longtime Pokemon fans, but also by consumers whose first encounter with the series was on a dedicated video game platform with the Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee games. Which is fair enough. I have not a big issue with that. And of course, people down here, like, are saying things like, why am I not surprised? It's just telling me games won't be taking full advantage of the system's home console half of its DNA and will be on the low spectrum of the system's power, which is true. That does mean that this game is aiming to be more, viable on a handheld scale rather than on a TV scale, which means they're not going to actually use the console's full, full scale of advantages that do exist there. Like, like, there are games on the Switch like Breath of the Wild that look amazing and still run on the, on the console. And the Pokemon can definitely achieve that level. It's just that they don't want to, and now they're using, I guess they could use the excuse here that this game is aimed to be more handheld played, so it doesn't need to look fantastic on TV, which would be such a shitty thing for them to do. I'll be so pissed off if they went down that path. Like, honestly, that would be really annoying. I'm hoping they're not gonna pull that one of those, like, quick ones and just be like, oh, the game looks shitty because it's meant to be played on handheld where it looks good. Like, oh, you think it looks bad on TV, but that's because it's not meant to be played on TV. It's meant to be played on handheld. You know what I mean? They can use that excuse, but at least that doesn't mean we're not going to be able to play it on TV, though, which is the biggest, which was the biggest hurdle here. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the end of the video, though. If you did enjoy, drop a like down below. Thank you so much for watching. My name is RuffledRowlit. Have yourselves a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen. Also, wait, one more thing. Guys, check out our shirts. And also, check out my gaming YouTube channel, because honestly, my gaming news YouTube channel, it's not a gaming channel, but it's like a news channel for video games. Please check it out, because I've been putting a lot of work into that one. I've got help from a friend of mine, working on it together, trying to get the channel kind of rolling and get the ball going on it. So please check it out, guys. It's going to be right here on the screen right now. You guys can be able to see it. Right here it is. There you go, guys. So there is the channel. Please check it out. It's pretty Gucci. Let's just put it that way. It's pretty Gucci. We're currently at 15,185 subscribers. Please help us get to 16,000. That'd be appreciated. We have 2 new videos out at the moment, which is the first one right here, which was uploaded 2 days ago. This one day ago. And yeah, we didn't upload anything yesterday. That's why we're gonna have to upload something today instead, though, because yesterday we just couldn't. There was just not enough time. But today there will be, because today is Friday, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday. So yeah, what else is there to say? I think that's just about it, though. Yeah, thanks so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'll catch you all next one. Have yourselves a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gents.